players, are there players in the... Shane Greene, could he be a setup guy? Baltimore, Givens, could he be good in Chicago? Kansas City, they have some bullpen arms. Are the Cubs dealers there? Giles is leaving Toronto. I'm sure he doesn't want to set up, but he's certainly a closer. Doug Boyle says Strop is one of the best relievers the Cubs have ever had outside of Hall of Famers. Difference of opinion in the chat room. But do the Cubs go out and try to add another bullpen arm? Looking at the National League standings this morning, Atlanta, they play Kansas City today. Day off yesterday. They're 60-41 in 6.5 games on top of the Washington Nationals. Washington, a doubleheader today. They were rained out last night. They're playing Colorado. I think I told you Colorado, they're just on this incredible losing streak. They've dropped to 4th place. They're tied for last in the National League West. They've lost 7 out of 10. They did salvage a game with the Yankees on Sunday. They had yesterday off because of the rain. They're playing 2 today in Washington. Washington, hotter than a firecracker on the 4th of July. Doug Boyle said what I said earlier. I told you earlier Gordon was hitting the back with a pickoff throw. Came out of the game, but it's no big injury. It's not serious. I expect him to play today, and I expect him to be traded tomorrow. But that National League East, Washington 6.5 out. Philadelphia 7.5 out. Philadelphia's in Detroit. They get the DH. The Mets are 14 out. They're playing at home against San Diego after a day off yesterday. And the Mets are getting ready to unload some pitching. I'm not sure what they're going to get back in return. And that's the thing about the New York Mets. You just never know what they're going to do and what they're going to look for in return. But they got starting pitching. They got 3. I don't think they'll trade them all. DeGrom. No. I don't trade DeGrom. Wheeler pitches this weekend. I don't think anybody's going to go for Wheeler till we see what he can do this weekend. So, the Mets are dealing. The Central, the Cubs lead by a 1.5 game. They're in San Francisco. The Giants, I just don't understand where the Giants are getting these rallies. Okay, they rallied for 3 in the 8th last night. They defeat the Cubs at home in San Francisco 5-4. You're talking about Strop, and he was the losing pitcher last night, giving up 4 hits and 3 earned runs. He's 2-4 on the year. That was his 5th blown save. So no matter how you feel about Pedro Strop, I do know this. The Cub bullpen has been a little bit shaky. Chychyk got his 9th hold. Brock his 4th hold. Mills started for the Cubs, only went into the 5th, did not finish the 5th inning. He did strike out 5 batters. The Cubs got 6 hits last night. No one had more than 1. Garcia, the rookie, hit his 4th homer in the 2nd inning off Anderson. Schwarber hit his 22nd homer. Kyle Schwarber, a lot of power, a lot of potential. It's all or nothing with Mr. Kyle Schwarber, isn't it? And is he the kind of leadoff hitter that you want at the top of that Cub lineup? We'll see. We'll see what the Cub brass does. Schwarber, he's hitting .229 on the year with those 22 homers and 47 RBIs. He's 2 for his last 12. He didn't start on last Wednesday, Friday, or Saturday. He did start Sunday and went 1 for 4. He did start yesterday and went 1 for 5. So he's not even a full-time player. And the Giants just seem like, they just seem like one of these movie teams, right? It's like, remember Roy Hobbs and the Knights and how bad they were, and the old man was retiring, and every night Roy Hobbs would come up, and of course it was a Roy Hobbs kind of movie, but he would hit a home run, and the lights in the stadium would explode, and well, that's the Giants. It's just there's not a Roy Hobbs on the team, and it's a different player every night. Last night their box score, a lot of ones, but Belt gets a hit, Yastrzemski gets 2 hits, Sandoval gets a hit. He's starting at third now because Longoria is out for a little bit. Stephen Vogt a hit. Brandon Crawford 2 hits. Pilar a hit. Slater a hit. Slater's been slumping of late, but he got one last night. Crawford 2 hits. Pilar a hit. Panic 3 hits. Anderson pitched 5 innings, gave up 3 earned. Pomerantz came in out of the bullpen, critical 6th and 7th. He pitched a perfect 6th and 7th with 4 strikeouts. Dyson gets the save. Gott gets the win. The Giants are over 500 for the first time this year at 51-50. And they're in second place in the National League West. And they are starting to leapfrog teams in the wild card standings. The Cubs 1.5 games up on the Cardinals. The Cardinals last night beat the Pirates 6-5. The same score for Cincinnati and Milwaukee. The Cardinals went on the road, and it was a grand slam by Paul Goldschmidt. That was the difference in that game. He's been struggling. He did go 1 for 4. He had 4 RBIs. He's only hitting .248. Fowler hit his 12th double last night. Wieters went 1 for 2 with 2 RBIs. His 8th homer of the year. Edman led off and went 2 for 5. He's been filling in really well for an injured Matt Carpenter. And pitching-wise, Ponce de Leon, not so much. 3 innings, walked 4, came out after 3. Waka then pitched the next 3, only gave up 1 earned run. Carlos Martinez already now has 9 saves since being handed that closing job. And in Milwaukee, I told you the Reds and Pirates played. The Reds beat the Brewers with 2 runs in the top of the 9th, and it was Eugenio Suarez's 2-run homer that was the game winner in that one. Suarez 2 for 5 last night with 2 home runs, 4 RBIs. His average is now up to 253. He has 26 homers on the season. Now, if you left him off by the side of the road for dead, that was a mistake. Suarez, I think, is going to have a really good close to the year. I think he could very well hit 40 homers. That's right. I think he could hit 40 homers. I think he could have 14 homers between now and the end of the year. And a 40 home run season from Suarez would be incredible. Lenny said this morning he thought Cincinnati had something in the tank. I don't really know. Alex Wood's coming back. They've had good pitching. But there's always that cloud. Is this a mirage or is this real? But so far it's been real. Alex Wood could be a big bolt to that rotation. Are they going to trade Iglesias and move Garrett to the closer role? Possibly. But the problem with Cincinnati has not been pitching. It's been the hitting. And we thought coming into the season it would be just the opposite. But they did collect 12 hits last night. Senzel got 2. Votto got 2. Suarez got 2. Puig got a hit. Peraza got a hit. Irving got a hit. Iglesias got a hit. Even Sonny Gray. And Sonny Gray has had Sonny Gray. Okay? He is the Renaissance man. What a year. 6 innings pitched last night. 1 earned run. 7 strikeouts. He did not factor into this decision, but he now has a 3.29 ERA. And that bullpen, Lorenzen, if you're in a holds league, listen to this. Lorenzen got his 8th hold. Garrett got his 15th hold. Peralta got the win, and Hughes got the save. Iglesias blew the save. That was his 3rd blown save. Iglesias gave up 3 runs in two-thirds of an inning. So what about this Hughes guy for Cincinnati? Could Hughes be the closer, or could Garrett be the closer? Jared Hughes, good numbers. He's 3-3, a 2.93 ERA, a 1.02 WHIP. I'm really high on Jared Hughes. I think Hughes is the closer if it's not Garrett. Or maybe it's a committee because one's a righty, one's a lefty. But Cincinnati, they're poised to trade Iglesias. That's been a bad marriage all year. In the West, the Dodgers, well, they were off yesterday. They deserve a day off, right? They really do. They deserve a day off. They beat Miami on Sunday. They were off yesterday. Play the Angels starting today. They have a 15.5 game lead over both the Giants and Diamondbacks, who sit in second place. The Giants have won 9 out of 10. Playing Chicago again today. Arizona's at home against the Orioles. Colorado's in Washington. And San Diego's at the Mets. Wild card. Washington leads the wild card by half a game over St. Louis. St. Louis is a half a game ahead of Philadelphia and Milwaukee for the second wild card. So there you got 4 teams within a game of each other for 2 spots. And you don't think the National League wild card is going to be exciting? Arizona and the Giants are 2 games out of the wild card. Colorado and San Diego are 5 games out of the wild card. So what I'm going to start doing, if you're not within 5 games of something, I'm not going to consider you relevant. When you get back within 5 games, you'll enter the discussion. So you got the Padres, the Rockies, the Giants, the Diamondbacks, the Brewers, the Phillies, the Cardinals, the Nats, all within 5 games of a wild card spot in the National League. Gotta love baseball. And that's why we are the Fantasy Baseball Network, Lenny Melnick, FantasySports.com. Looking at the chat room, Guess Doris. I would love to know who Guess Doris is. I always and forever want to know who people like that are in the chat room. Unholy Toledo, Phil Chaplin, Mark Youngblood, Lenny, George, Div DeBizzle, DK Luge, Cam, Corona Cyclonas, Andrea Lou, all you guests. It's great to have you this morning in the chat room. Got a great schedule today. Let me tell you, let me go ahead. I know Lenny's listening because I can see he's in the chat room. We are expecting some major storms in my neck of the woods later today. And every time we have storms, that usually translates into I lose my internet. And if I lose my internet, there is no Arnie Fantasy World of Sports at 6 o'clock tonight. So stay posted. I'm planning on being here for the show, but weather does dictate. And if you look at Raleigh, North Carolina on your weather forecast, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. But looking at our schedule this afternoon and the rest of this morning, is Trophy Town on at 12. It shows on my schedule. Aloha, Kevin Hastings, a great show. Okay, if you've never listened to Kevin Hastings, make today your first day. 2 o'clock today. Fantasy Gangstas, Cha-Cha and Lou, scheduled at 4. Cam's back on at 5:30. You got me at 6. You got Chappie, Fantasy World. The great Phil Chaplin at 7. We're scheduled back, Chappie and myself, at 9. Easy Kill on at 10 for Round Table. So it's a great schedule today. Phil Chaplin said no storms allowed at 9 p.m. I hope so. I really hope so. But you never know, right? So I want to go through some rookies. And, we've talked about some already. I got some numbers for you. If you're a guy, you love numbers, here we go. But, we get these rookies that come up and they're incredibly awesome for a while. Like Slater for the Giants. Okay. I'm looking at, I saved some of my notes. This was Wednesday of last week. And it says the 26-year-old has been on fire since being called up July 1. He was hitting .344 last Wednesday. That was the 17th of July. But since the 17th of July, are you ready for some numbers? He's 1 for 15. 1 for his last